Do 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 do. Please don't crash. Ooh, I see OJ. Wah wah wah. Content. Live. On, I gotta make my $10 a month. I think it's actually up to 50 now that I'm making a month. I mean, realize I put out, God, 120 hours of content every month, so it's not like I'm making a living. Market scanner, although I am doing really well on. I gotta do the what I'm making. Video. Live chat. Okay. Scans. Lily has a cross up. Amazon cross up. I said to buy Amazon last week. Ooh. I'm a little bit early, but view account. I hit the thumbs up for myself. Let's see, brokerage holdings, anything. Etsy before earnings. Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin's crashing. Bitcoin might be a good one to get into. Although, QYLD. What has this stock been doing? I mean, a huge downturn here. That was just last week. Bye. Miss you already. What? I miss you already. Bye. Morning, Scott. People are leaving for work, and I'm sitting here just ogling over the fact that I'm probably going to make a shit ton of money today off of Amazon and Apple, my two largest positions. Although I think I may, Microsoft maybe, hold on. I've got to look at, is Microsoft my second biggest position now? Let's see. I had a good Friday. We're going to do current value. Let's see. No. Let's see. Microsoft's my number 2 by a hair. Amazon's my number 3 by a hair. And then Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. So, interesting. Yeah, let's see. Holdings. One, Apple. Two, Microsoft. Three, Amazon. Google. Based on price. Okay. Morning, Scott, by the way. I don't know if I ignored you, but I didn't mean to. Covered call ETFs. Energy names. Ooh, energy. Marathon Petroleum before earnings. UCO, SLB, COP, KOLD. KOLD Energy has taken a morning, Joshua. That's a nice pullback right before earnings. Man, that's a really nice pullback. MPC. Let's put that one in. And that's one of the year-to-date largest S&P winners. Let's see. Gains. I think that's the, slick charts. I always forget Marathon or MPC, yeah. MPC up 33%. So I don't know if that one's going to be a good earnings or not, but that's an interesting one. UCO, decaying asset, but it's been on a nice run. I would continue to think that oil continues higher. SLB or Schlumberger, whichever one, Vos Vase, whichever one. Almost gap fill. Almost. Nice little turnaround. KOLD Energy has legs for a second move before their earnings first week in May. I do have mention. I will be on vacation Wednesday to Friday this week. Maybe newsletter. I'm going hiking in Utah. Wah. Let me turn on my Do Not Disturb. Just so I have it on. Or else tech calls may come in from the Costanzas. Do Not Disturb. Google's down by almost 2%. MRO, Marathon Oil. Same thing. MRO is same thing as MPC, Marathon Petroleum. Nice pullback. Same as MPC. So Halliburton. The war machine is getting in, so Halliburton is probably not a bad name to get in. DRUP. This is up. Granite Shares, NASDAQ. Disruptors ETF. We'll put it in. What the hell? Because I know people look at the scans. I mean, that's a pretty good one. Nothing low cost ETF. Any spot? Probably no spider sectors. No. The watch list usually pulls out a bunch. AMR, which we have MPC. Yeah, Trenton. When the CEO goes over to China on a last-minute surprise trip to get them to approve full self-driving in China, and they will most likely be the first country that allows Tesla to do it, because they want to be first. So Cardinal Health had this nice pullback. An alpha pick. Confirmation, okay. Now let's see, not owned. Plug. I can't lead people in there. Micron. I think you've got this nice support level at 97.50. I like this one. Second leg higher. Massey. I mean, it's already filled that gap. It filled the gap. Could you be going back up to the 200-day? I mean, it's just moving negative. That's put QuantumScape in there. Battery technology. It's been a nightmare of a stock, but people like it. Yeah, and by the way, I've been wrong about Tesla. Morning, Chris. I have been wrong about Tesla, but I don't think that I'm wrong in waiting. The Dow, obviously. Amazon. Let's go to NASDAQ. I don't think I'm wrong in waiting. And I'll show you the chart. CDNS, Micron. There we go. But we'll go S&P. Amazon COP. Ooh, I got it up there. Eli Lilly. Okay. So we've got that. Let's go to the strategy tester, and we'll go to the 4-hour. And you'll see QuantumScape has a nice entry at $5.38. Makes you the exact same amount if you bought and held. Loses you 65%. But Tesla. And here's where I think of Tesla. Yes, you have confirmation. Yes, you gapped up during earnings. Yes, you still have the upward movement. When you go to a weekly, we're going upper left, lower right. We're still in that downward movement. The weekly candle, solid, but it didn't touch the high of the previous week. The high of the previous week was 170.69. This one got to 172, so it did touch it. 172.12 just doesn't look like it visually. Maybe that's because that 9 days in there. I just think you don't have confirmation over that 9 day on the weekly. You will start out this week because you're at, ooh, I'm dropping frames. What the hell's that about? Great. I don't know why. Hotkeys, video. Yeah, it's locked me in. Global audio, fast decay. Let's try that. Okay. I don't think that made a difference, but still dropping frames at about 3%. It's probably not great. Who knows? I don't know that much about this stuff, but software-wise. But Tesla, I would be very wary that we're not seeing one of these style bounces, maybe even, if you get this bounce, look at this bounce. You went from 150 up to 300, and then your next bounce wasn't quite back there. So until you see some type of upward movement, you had the death cross. I'm just, I'm a little bit, maybe because I'm old, I'm reluctant to say, it's been a good trade. I mean, we talked about, on the daily, how when it got oversold here, down in 30s, down below 30, it's only 3 other times. And it would have allowed you to buy here at 140 when it got oversold under 30, and boom, taken off. So great trade if you took it. I did not. I did not. I reiterate, I did not take that trade. So, but I'm going to pull this up. Let's see. Ooh, we're going to look at those. Dexcom, interesting play. We're going to pull up Seeking Alpha, and we're going to go down to earnings calendar, and we'll look at that. Apple upgraded, SOFI beat. We're going to move that over there. We're going to use that. Then we'll go Apple upgraded, then SOFI beat. Got double that open. No oil exposure. Oxy looks really interesting. Wah, wah, wah. We'll look at the Tesla stuff. We will look at the biggest stock movers. The NASDAQ, S&P futures rise ahead of Fed's decision later. I liked this one. I like that one. Okay. Okay. Not many bots in here today for some reason. We talked about that one. We talked about confirmation. Where are we on the weekly? Weekly, we had an inside candle. Okay. Nvidia's up. SMCI. Where's SMCI? 850. Oh, I do have to. Not a bot. Good morning, Sir Ryan. Sir Ryan. It's one R. Sir Ryan. I think that's how you say it. Let's go to the 4 hour. We're going to start out on the 4 hour. Okay. Okay. Start recording. Good morning. It's Monday, April 29th, the last Monday in April for 2024. Just so everyone's aware, I will be on vacation this week, Wednesday through Friday. There will be no podcast Wednesday through Friday unless I wake up some ungodly hour and decide to record something. I'm probably not bringing my laptop, though, so it might just be a quick actual audio podcast, but maybe a newsletter, most likely a paid newsletter Sunday. I did have a paid newsletter this week, Fundamentals that Peter Lynch focuses when picking stocks, and a chat GPT prompt. I'll cover VOO and stuff like that. It was a good one. Essentially what I did, I provided a lot of that for free. Now down here, I provided a Peter Lynch scanner. So if you went into TrendSpider, if you actually have, if you went into Seeking Alpha and you had Seeking Alpha and you go to your stock screener, I now have a link for Peter Lynch stock screener. And I provided that to the paid newsletter subscribers. I will also be doing one for Warren Buffett. So I think you can screen those things. I think you have to be part of Seeking Alpha Premium as well. But Daily Stock Pick newsletter, it is free to subscribe. The only difference, the only thing you pay for are the weekend newsletters. But the weekday newsletters you get for free. DailyStockPick.substack.com. So I think it's worth it. I think if you want to subscribe, I think that's a good tool to take a look at what I'm doing. And it's just, when I say education, it's, hey, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I do. These are the things that I learned about this week. So here, I just looked at my portfolio just before we came on air, and I wanted to update everybody about my personal portfolio and the way things kind of move. So by far, Apple is far and away my number one holding. And that is the reason I am down year to date, but Apple is by far my biggest holdings. Microsoft, by a very little margin, a very little amount, it is the number two holding. And that could fluctuate with number 3 and 4. These next three could fluctuate just based on their price. But number 2 is Microsoft, number 3 is Amazon, and number 4 is Google. So we have Google has already reported. Microsoft has already reported. This week is just as big for my portfolio as it was last week, if not bigger, because Apple and Amazon both report. Now, Friday, I did buy a ton of SMCI. I bought a ton more. My average purchase price is in my retirement account is now down below that 1,050. I've said it before. I hold a significant portion of SMCI that has grown to a significant portion in my brokerage account that I will not touch. I will not sell until it gets to long term, which is around the July-August timeframe. So the way I'm protecting my downside is I'm actually trading it in my retirement account so that I don't have tax events and I can get to the 15% tax long-term capital gains instead of the income. So again, it's my play, but I did buy a bunch of SMCI on Friday. So I'm not pounding the table on it. Part of the reason is because we had a buy in the 4-hour algorithm of SMCI, 859.25. So I saw that coming. I bought it a significantly lower price. I think I got in around $830. I think that's where it's down 1% in pre-market. I do believe they report this Tuesday, April 30th, which is tomorrow after the bell. I wanted to get in before earnings. I don't know that this is a great buy, but when I actually look at SMCI in the quant in Seeking Alpha, it's a strong buy. And when you look at it, there's still upside left. And I do believe there still is upside left. My plan is when it hits $1,000, maybe I'll trim it. Trim it significantly because it has bounced off that $1,000. It got up to $1,200, but $1,000 just seems to be a likely move. Now, when we talk about the Qs, there were a couple of things with the Qs. TrendSpider put out this chart. And remember that brick wall on QQQ at $434? We are now coming in for a retest from below. Do we reject it? $834. Well, here in pre-market, we're at $833. And I argue $834 is probably a pretty good resistance level. If we get above it, we have to hold it. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to see the earnings really try and push this. And if the earnings really push it above and we get a great earnings week, then that's great. The Fed also has a meeting on Friday, and we'll go over all of this. But what I wanted to point out too, not only that 834, but we had a weekly candle last week on the Qs that was an inside candle. If you don't know what an inside candle is, Google it. But an inside candle doesn't give us a direction of where the market's going. It just says, hey, we could go up, we could go down. But on the weekly, you can take a look at other indicators like the MACD. We're going down on the MACD. It's still super high. The RSI, we ended the week at 57. That's pretty high. So take a look at those. I would argue you look at these two similar patterns. Are we in that bounce from August 14th to August 28th when we went up, but we just continued down lower? I don't know. And again, earnings week, big earnings week this week with Apple and Amazon. Everything seems to point to hey, we probably have a little bit more downside. This week, big earnings week, like we said, NXPI on semi, they already did MicroStrategy reports after the bell. And Bitcoin is down today. One of the biggest movers, Domino's Pizza. Earnings spotlight on Tuesday. Amazon is the big one. Eli Lilly, which is in our core portfolio. Coca-Cola, AMD, McDonald's, Starbucks, PayPal, Caesars, SMCI, which is big. On Wednesday, CVS, Qualcomm, Pfizer, Kraft Heinz, MasterCard. If you don't have Seeking Alpha or you can't read this, then you can use Earnings Hub. Earnings Hub is really, really good. It's actually, one of the best ones, and I use it, and I have Seeking Alpha. Earnings Hub is fantastic. They give you a Q3, an AI analysis of the past earnings, and you can see Eli Lilly was up really good. If we look at SMCI on Tuesday after the bell, let's look it up. We can just look it up, SMCI. We'll just look it up. Oh, come on. Where am I? SMCI. We'll look it up. Oh, there it is. And we'll look up this one. And you can see earnings per share. Last time, they blew it away. 13% on earnings per share, 19%. This time, they're expected 584, which is big. It's bigger than their 559, 3.99, bigger than the last reported. So we better see some expansion on this. If you don't see expansion, you can expect this one to go down. Again, we better see expansion on SMCI, but this is how you use Earnings Hub. I really like it. But yeah, Volatility Watch, you can see a lot of the volatility stuff. IPO Watch, Viking Holdings is expected to IPO this week. This was a great video that I watched on Friday. Ultimately, I think there's a risk to 4,800 on the S&P. And you can take that and go over to SPY. And you can say, okay, where's SPY trading? Because 4,800 on SPY is actually 480 on SPY is 4,800. So that's what this guy was saying is the downside, 4,800. That would bring you just below the 200-day. on the 4-hour. Now, if we go to the daily, the 200-day is down at 467. So you don't break that. His main reason is, hey, we're still in an upward trend overall, but there is downside risk. And I thought this was great. He actually outlined specific targets on SPY if you're interested. I thought it was a great technical analysis of it. NASDAQ, S&P, it all rose. S&P futures index, U.S. Treasury was down 2 basis points. That's why we're up. Wall Street closed the week higher after tech giants Microsoft and Alphabet reignited the artificial intelligence craze. It's just 2 days left in the April markets. You can kind of do that. Let's see. Next article, the biggest movers of the day. Tesla. We'll talk about Tesla in a little bit. Tesla jumped 6% following reports of a partnership agreement between the automaker and Baidu to deploy EV makers' full self-driving technology. Baidu providing support for mapping and navigation. The news comes alongside Tesla. Elon Musk went over to China. And so, hey, FSD, it's the biggest thing. I do think biggest losers, Bitcoin. That was shocking to me. I expect Bitcoin to be up. So I think this is a buying opportunity. If you want to see Bitcoin, we can go over to PTC on Seeking Alpha, and we can look at this chart. I do think 60,000 provides you support. If you wanted to buy it at 62,000, I think we move higher. But again, risk assets, we talked about it. They're a little bit hard to kind of evaluate. For me, I don't follow Bitcoin all that well, but I think if you want to get into Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin. You can buy one of the ETFs if you'd like, but they are all down, so down 1.5%. Tesla's watershed moment in China helps lift Chinese electric vehicle stocks. You can kind of look at this stuff. Tesla ripped, Baidu ripped. This partnership is good. Chinese vehicle maker NIO rose 4.23%. Li rose 4.4%. XPEG up 1.69%. BYD was up. Everything kind of lifted on Tesla. Now, I've been wrong about Tesla, but I don't think I'm wrong in the long term. I think I'm wrong in the short term. It got quite a pop. Now, Elon is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this one. The valuation makes no sense whatsoever. Just understand, this one has never traded on valuation. It's all on hope and pray. And you've got evangelists. I love my Tesla Model Y. I had a Model 3. I traded in for the Tesla Model Y. I've loved those cars. I love full self-driving. It is not as good as you driving yourself yet, but it's getting there. The steps that they've gotten, the new software that they've rolled out, it has been phenomenal in the rate of change that they're doing. Tesla also announced, by the way, in their earnings that they were buying a ton of NVIDIA chips. So SMCI, NVIDIA, expect those things to bump up. I didn't watch the interview last night, but Jensen Huang, who's the CEO of NVIDIA, he was on 60 Minutes. So if you get a chance, watch that video. I haven't had a chance to watch it. But Tesla in the pre-market is at 190. So where are we going? Well, most likely 198 is going to provide you significant resistance. You can see the 50-day is still moving negative. We have confirmation over the 9-day, and you're up at 190 in pre-market. That is up at this level right here. I'll put a mark so you can see it a little bit better at 190. Right there. 190 right there. That is the level that you're at. So I think you provide some resistance at its 200-day at 199. Now, I say that full well knowing this weekly, the candle just doesn't look good. It looks like it's still in a downward trend. You haven't made a change for the long term. And the financials of Tesla make me think, again, I'm not a Tesla hater. I actually love the cars. But I just don't think that the valuation of this thing makes sense right now. It's being valued through the quant as a car company, but I think it is a technology company. But even then, you're trading at a significantly higher price than even technology companies. So at some point in time, this winds up being hurt. And from a weekly standpoint, you're going upper left to bottom right. That's not a good place to be. If you're looking from January 2023, you were moving up bottom left to upper right, but you've even started to move down below that. And so I'm just a little bit worried about that stock. Not that I'm not getting into it. I don't own it. My parents own a bunch. I told them that they should have gotten out at 200. Here at 190, maybe we're going to trim that one. We might trim that. We are in, I think it's about an average purchase price of about 150, 160. So we wound up down. But they bought this way back in 2021. And that's how long they've held this one. They bought it way back here. It might have been 2020, to be honest with you. I think it may have been 2020, where my mother was like, yeah, screw it, I'm buying a ton. And she bought a ton. And look at the amount of times that she's turned negative. If it's 150 and we bought back here, say it was around here at 150, because I do think that was about the time when she bought. Look, you dipped down below it. You were negative here, January 2023, and it hasn't been an actively traded position. So I begged them. I do think that 200-day provides some resistance there. I think Tesla, in my mind, not a great one. But again, you do you. I have it in XLY. This was interesting because the value of $10,000 invested 20 years ago. 20 years ago. 20 years ago, yes, it was 2004. Yes, I don't think I put $10,000 in at that time. I think it was 2006. But that's the amount of Apple. Yeah, I can tell you these. And that's what I looked at. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm pretty sure I put in close to 10,000 on that one. But Nvidia, I wasn't investing in Nvidia. Monster Beverage, I wasn't investing in that. Booking Holdings, I wasn't investing in that. Netflix, I traded in and out of. Wrong, big mistake. Salesforce, traded in and out of. Google, I have held, but not as long as this. Amazon, traded in and out of, but it has gone up to a larger position. Domino's Pizza, traded in and out of. Adobe, traded in and out of. Costco, I just started owning Costco. Didn't own it. Microsoft, I have owned it this entire time. Yes, I can tell you, Microsoft, $10,000 20 years ago, $152,000. So Microsoft has done barely anything for 20 years. Again, if you invested 20 years ago. Nike, same thing. McDonald's, Home Depot, I would consider these everything that's under from Microsoft down, all failures for 20-year investments. You should be trading in and out of those. Everything above it, I would say buying and holding, you've probably done better than trading. But I've traded in and out of those. I can tell you that I don't own 1.4 million of Netflix today. I don't own almost 1 million of Salesforce. Google, probably half that. Amazon, probably half that. Domino's Pizza, I don't own today. Adobe, Costco, I have very little, but I just bought it. Microsoft, I have about a little bit more than that. Yeah, a little bit more than that. But again, that's my holdings. My holdings shouldn't be your holdings. If you don't have energy exposure, there are a couple of energy stocks that I wanted to point out. Oxy is one. Warren Buffett owns 28% of this company. 28%. So if you want to buy Oxy, it's an interesting one. It has been stuck in this trading range for quite a while. You've got a buy in the algorithm at 67. You went all the way here up to 60, looks like 69. 71 was your high most recently on April 12th. We've again started to approach an upward trajectory. We use that 50-day as support. And if you look, May 7th are the earnings. And if we go over here to Oxy and we look at the summary of Oxy on Occidental Holding, it's a hold in the quant, and it's based on valuation. And the valuation is just, you look at the peg. Now, the forward peg is 0.94. That is the growth that is factored in. It's trading 36% below the sector median. So I think Oxy might be an interesting one for you. I own Oxy. I own 5 figures of Oxy. If you look here and you look, maybe you don't want to own Oxy. because Oxy is rated, where is Oxy? It is 14 of 17 in the integrated oil and gas. Maybe you want to own Chevron, and we went over it. Chevron was a good one. Maybe you want to own Suncor, SU. Again, look at the market caps, because I would stay with the bigger market caps. 19 billion Repsol. I think this is a South America one. YPF, 10.2 billion. They're all billions, so they're not millions of dollars in market cap. So they're all probably pretty good. All provide different things. But again, if you want to get into the oil space, there's a couple. And there's a couple of scans that showed up in the oil space too. And let me scroll down here, because MPC, which is one of the largest gainers, I think it's 33% year to date. MPC is reporting, and we have a buy in here. MPC is reporting today after the bell. I think it's Marathon Petroleum post-market. No, earnings report pre-market. So they must have already reported. Let's see. Let's go and look at MPC here on Earnings Hub, and we can go and look at the earnings on Seeking Alpha, but I like this Earnings Hub. Tomorrow morning. So it reports tomorrow morning, and it's $2.39. Expected revenue of 31.2. How do we look at it? Well, reported $3.98 last time. Their expected was $2.21. They beat it by 80%. Now, revenue, and again, you look at what they reported, $3.98. Their estimate is $2.39. Revenue, $31 billion. They reported 36. So it's lowered expectations. And you've got a pullback with a buy-in on the algorithm. Now, the algorithm makes you 90%. Buying and holding over 2 years makes you 121%. Your average win is 14%. I would argue with this run-up, I don't think that's a bad price. If we go and we look at MPC in the quant here in Seeking Alpha, we can see it's probably a hold. Yes, it's a hold, but the valuations is a C. The growth is a D. Why is the growth a D? We'll take a look at it. Their revenue growth year over year down 16%. They're just not growing as much as they need to. Now, the dividend has been growing. Dividend per share growth, 13%. What's their dividend at? Let's take a look at the dividend. We'll look at the dividend yield. Dividend growth, dividend history. Let's look at the dividend history. I think C+. But you can do this dividend yield. Let's look at dividend yield. What is it? I don't even know what it is. 1.59% yield on cost. Here's the year end. You can see 2%, 2024 average yield 1.74. So it doesn't have a huge dividend. But MPC, I would argue from that chart, if you don't have exposure to energy, might be a good one. And in the same realm, MRO, which is Marathon Oil, kind of on the same trajectory as MPC. They got a buy-in here at 27.76. And if we go over to MRO and we take a look, we'll go to the summary. It's a buy. It's got C's, but it's a buy. We take a look at Wall Street. Wall Street says $33 price target, 21% upside. You can see it's down from, they've been raising the price target, but the stock has come down. So, if you don't have exposure to energy, a couple of those wound up. Where do you get these scans? You get them at the Daily Stock Pick newsletter. At the end of the newsletter, every day that I post the newsletter, I post, the scans. If we go down here, we just look at, let's see, archive. I'm going to look at the archive because we're going to go to Fridays. So this is Fridays. I don't post scans on the weekends. I post them just during the week. But go down the bottom, and you'll see scans. If you want me to post a chart on any of these scans, you say, oh, I want to see that one because I'm interested in getting into it, just ask me. I posted NVIDIA on Friday. I said, NVIDIA, buy more now that the AI players say they can't get enough. Again, I think NVIDIA is one of those that there's just spending on. So I think it's a good one. But again, Daily Stock Pick newsletter is what you want to do. Okay, so that's the oil sector. SOFI Technologies. Folks are always interested in SOFI. SOFI beat. And they were up. Let's see what they're doing now. It is down 4% in pre-market at $7.50. That's where trading. It closed at 789. This one went up to the 200-day at 807. It was trading up there. So if you got a chance to buy it on the pop, great. I think people are just taking some profits now. I think it's a $10 stock. So if you want to buy more, have at it. But SOFI, stock gains after 2024 guidance. It was climbed 4.8% in pre-market. It has completely pulled back at this point to the point where it's down. So SOFI, it's getting that one of those things. Apple upgraded at Bernstein ahead of earnings. This is a big one. Was in focus. Apple has derated significantly amid a weak iPhone 15 cycle and fears that Apple's China business is structurally impaired. We believe prevailing weakness in China is more cyclical than structural, and note that historically Apple's China business has exhibited much higher volatility than Apple overall, given its very feature-sensitive installed base. Raised his price target on Apple to outperform and kept his 195 price target. So Apple up, let's see, it's up 2.61% at 173. He's got a 195 price target. I like it. The 50-day still moving negative. The chart hasn't turned around. So this algorithm buy at 169, probably a good buy. You're heading into earnings. It's on Thursday. If we go to Seeking Alpha and we look at Apple here, let's look at Apple. Here's the Wall Street ratings. I've said it before. Average price target, $199, 17% upside. In the last 90 days, 48 analysts have rated it. 19 strong buy, 16 hold, 7 say hold, 1 has a strong sell. And it's the valuation that's bringing this one down. The valuation is crazy. The PEG ratio, they're trading 32% above the sector median. Even their PE, they're trading 22% above their sector median. Now, PE forward, they're trading 6% below their sector median at 25. That has come down. And the reason is because the stock price has come down. So again, you want to take a look at these things, but I don't think that this one is throw out the baby with the bathwater. I do think that at some point in time, Apple becomes a very heavy buy. Now, I haven't added to my position because, again, this is my largest position. But at 169, I would argue that 160 probably provides you some significant support. They're probably going to come back. One that I want to point out to you, and I looked at this weekend. I've said this before. Hey, just a couple of times before, it's dipped below that 50-day. Well, that 50-day is at 181. I think that's where you're climbing to. Do you want to buy this and trade it at 181? No. Do you want to trim it in your IRA? No. Do you want to add more? I'd say yes. When it's under that 50-day, I'd say yes. They are going to announce that they bought back a ton of stock. I think they're going to announce that. One that I want to point out that did in December, I believe. I think it may have been January. GM announced, it was during this earnings, GM announced that they were going to buy back $10 billion of shares. Okay, that was January 29th. Where have they gone since they announced that they were going to buy $10 billion worth of shares? They're up almost 30%. They are up almost 30% since they announced that. Now, they've been buying them back aggressively. That's why you're going back. Now, GM is not an investment. This is definitely one that you want to take a look at. But I do think that $43 right there, you've broken above it, but you haven't held it traditionally, super long time on the weekly. I would argue that you're not getting back here to the 2021 highs of 61, but I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But I want to point that out because Apple's earnings are coming up, and it was upgraded. So I do think it's a good one. Now, Seeking Alpha, if you have the premium version, what's great is you can import your portfolio. And I do like upcoming earnings on your stocks. This is just on the homepage. You scroll down here. You can customize this homepage as well. And upcoming earnings. We got Amazon on Tuesday. We got AMD. We have SMI. We have Eli Lilly. We have Coke. We have MPLX. We have PayPal. We have Qualcomm. We have DraftKings. And we have Apple. I have stopped. I don't own PayPal. I'm interested in their earnings. That's why it's on one of my portfolios. So I continue to watch it. But that's what this is the lot that I'm going to get for the next few I guess this week. upcoming earnings. Apple's the big one, 5.2. DraftKings, big one on 5.2. If DraftKings announces that they're cash flow positive, boom. Qualcomm, huge earnings. That one is before NVIDIA, which is interesting. I think NVIDIA will trade based on how SMCI trades. MPLX, Energy, they're just going to announce a killing and maybe an upgrade in the dividend. Coke, Pepsi got taken down. Coke is probably pretty good. But I like this. Now, if you don't have Seeking Alpha and you don't have a tracker, just use Earnings Hub. Earnings Hub is great. What do we want to see from Amazon? Well, let's take a look. Amazon's earnings, which are tomorrow after the bell. Look at this. Reported $1 per quarter, per earnings per share, $1. Expected was 74 cents. The expected is only up 4 cents, but they reported $1. Maybe if they report $1 again, that's going to be a huge bump to the stock. We talked about Amazon stock having that 188 resistance level. Well, it's approaching that right now before its earnings as well. That 188 is resistance. You got to buy today of 179.62 in the algorithm. It's up 1.66. Put in a buy for 180. You're probably going to hit 180 through the day because I think we go back to the week before last where we start out strong during the day and then weaken because Wednesday's the big thing. Wednesday's the Fed meeting. You're going to see stuff like that going on. But Amazon, I would argue Amazon is a buy here. I think it was Goldman Sachs put out that note last week that they think it goes past that 188 and continues higher. Probably you just had your golden cross on the weekly. Now the candle last week does not, for the last 2 weeks, doesn't abide by a golden cross where it's going well. Let's see where the last golden cross actually happened on the weekly. Oh, God, we'd have to go back way back here. That's 2015. I don't even have it. I mean, it's not even in the data. So, there we go. The last golden cross that happened was 2007. And what did the stock do? Kind of floundered. We saw that 61% downturn during the housing crisis. That's what that happened. That was the last golden cross of Amazon. So are we in that 40% downturn now? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. There'd have to be something like a housing crisis happen. Does inflation stick its ugly head and then we get more raises from the Fed? Could be. But again, I would argue Amazon for the long term is a great buy here. That's the earnings that you have. Now, if we go back to Seeking Alpha, we look at, let's see, the earnings. We have AMD. AMD. Where are we on the earnings hub? AMD, we go back 60 cents. It reported last time 77 cents. If we get a great AMD quarter, holy crap. Look out NVIDIA. Look out all the chip stocks. Look out for the second leg of this cyclical thing. Revenue, $5.43 billion. Reported last time, $6.17 billion. So AMD, great stock. I own a bunch of this. It pulled back. The valuation is absolutely crazy. It's pulled back, and we have a buy here at 151. You've turned it. You've got confirmation right before earnings. Your MACD is down. You're coming off a 25 RSI. So again, you've got to take a look at these things. But I would argue from a long-term perspective, AMD is still in that growth phase. And I would argue that we're going higher. But who knows? Maybe that they don't report great earnings this time. Maybe they report something a little bit different. Let's see. Pfizer. Eli Lilly was interesting because we just had a cross up on Eli Lilly. They report tomorrow morning. 229 estimate, 8.11 billion. Reported last time 9.35 billion. Reported last time 249 per share. So it's an interesting thing to look at. Look at these estimates. Now let's go to the big one. Well, before we go to the big one, let's look at Qualcomm as another chip. 232 expected estimate. Reported last time 275. So again, if we're in a cyclical time and spending has cut back, then you're probably going to see a reduction. I would argue based on Google and Microsoft, some of these AMD chips, some of these NVIDIA chips, the leaders in the chips, that's where they're spending. Now you look at Apple, $1.40 estimate. Reported $2.18 last time. This is down significantly. So is the stock price going to get hit if they come in under $1.40? Absolutely. If they come in at $2, you're going to see this stock fly to its price. So again, you want to take a look at this stuff and you use your tools that you have. Earnings Hub, I love it because I can compare these. I can look at the AI summary. Seeking Alpha, I love because it keeps me on top of things. TrendSpider, I love because I can use the algorithm. So again, Earnings Hub is great. You want to use that. In fact, one that I found that was down big last week is Dexcom. Now, my dad owns a bunch of Dexcom, and I've said this before. I thought it was a $120 stock, and I said when it gets that 120 level, you really want to look at 120. You really want to look at selling it when it's over. Well, what did it get to when it lost confirmation? You had a nice 18% gain. Algorithm got you in, and then earnings came in. Algorithm got you in right before earnings, and then it went down. Well, why did it go down? Because there was 7% despite quarterly beat because of the outlook. The outlook matters. So it's not just beating this time, it's the outlook. And we talked about how retail and the other things are getting killed on their outlook. Ulta got killed on their outlook, not on their actual earnings. So it's the outlook. But I've said this before. Dexcom is one at this 162. That's the old all-time high. This is the one at 120 where I said it's got quite a resistance. Well, once it gets over, it pulls back. I do think you're going for another leg to this 162. So I would say when you get done pulling back, you might want to buy. Well, where is it on the 4-hour algorithm? You're out. You're out right now. You're not in. But the RSI has quickly gone down to 30. Quickly gone down to 30. The MACD quickly gone down below the oscillator. So I think this one might be a rebound buy. Again, you've got to believe that maybe they're sandbagging it. Maybe they'll come in better. The algorithm makes you 24.4%. Buying and holding makes you 24.2%. The algorithm on this one works. It keeps you safe. Your average win is 12%. If you want to trade it, I would say wait for the confirmation, wait for it to move up, but I do think you're going back to that 160 on Dexcom. Okay, so let's look at some social requests. First one, I got a bunch of lists from Spotify. AMT is American Tower. This is kind of like a REIT. I don't like this stock. I'm going to remove this. I don't like this because they pay out a huge dividend, and I'm not a big dividend guy. If we go to AMT here on Seeking Alpha, we can see it's a hold in the quant, and the reason is the valuation. It's ranked number 1 out of 3. I think it's a REIT in that, the dividends and things of that sort. Its forward dividend, trailing 12 months is 3.79. I'm just not a huge fan of this one. Again, it's the REIT thing, but from a standpoint of a stock, you lose 10% in the algorithm. But if you bought and held this one, you've lost 31%. From a weekly standpoint, your 200 days moving negative, your 50 days moving negative. I just don't see a positive thing about this. So that's BLM Twin. Anthony asked me to look at Humana. Humana in healthcare has a problem. If you're going to invest in healthcare, I'd say United Healthcare or just the XLV. I would not try and pick a winner on this one. This one has structural problems, absolute structural problems. Look at that. That's traded from 517 down to 300. Medicare is getting killed. The healthcare costs are coming into focus. This one has the death cross on the weekly. I wouldn't get in. We can go and look at Humana from a standpoint of the quant. It's a hold. The valuation is still a D. The valuation is still a D. Look at that forward gap. The peg, 4.39. You're 131% above your sector. There's no reason to get into this one. So Anthony, I would stay out. Noah Carmi, Home Depot, and OSK. Home Depot. Home Depot is one that you just want to buy. You just want to buy when the algorithm tells you. It's not good to trade. I don't think Home Depot is a tradable stock, but the valuation of it isn't crazy. You look at the weekly, and I've pointed out, I think it trades within this range. I'm not a big Home Depot fan. I was at Home Depot this weekend. And I didn't make my trip to Bed Bath & Beyond because we didn't have time. By the way, that's if you haven't seen the movie Old School, one of the best movies ever, but that's the line there. We might go to Bed Bath & Beyond, but I'm not sure we're going to have time. Got a pretty big weekend ahead. But look, the valuation is a little nuts. It's a little nuts, up here. I don't think, I would rather invest in Lowe's. I think Lowe's is a better one. Let's look at your OSK. OSK is Oshkosh. It's an holding company. Stock chart looks good. I mean, it has you out right now after earnings. Doesn't look bad if we want to look at OSK here in the quant. OSK, it's a buy. It's industrial. I mean, it's been a good one. It hasn't been bad. 9 out of 38. Construction. I like CAT in this territory. Yeah, it's number 5. OSK is number 9. I think I'd rather have CAT. And that's knowing that CAT has pulled back. It's pulled back quite a bit. It's got a strong buy in the quant. I think I'd rather have CAT. So that's my thing. L Coffee, Comstock, CRK. Let's look at this one first in this one. CRK Comstock, it's a sell in the quant. Comstock is it's an energy sector one. I don't know why this one would be one that you'd pick other than, hey, it's pulled back quite a bit. I don't know anything about it. I do hear that it's just got problems. It's on the rebound. You had the golden cross here, $8.30, great buy. I just don't know enough about it to know that, hey, if you want to learn why Comstock is bad, has characteristics. The company has 3M price performance of 29%, while the energy sector is at a medium of 0.55. You can read up about it. Long-term performance, I think it probably is a trade. I think that's what they're saying. Lucas, keep the good content coming. How about that Google Pop? Let's go. Yeah, thanks, Lucas. Lou Dog rated me 5 stars, and Joseph rated me 5 stars. By the way, Travis wrote to me, and he really made my day because I took a lot of time to write the paid newsletters, and it's usually about an 8 to 10 hour process of me writing those things. Putting it all together and making sure that you guys get content that's actually worth it. Travis wrote to me, I'm glad I finally subscribed to the newsletter. This week's is stellar. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, it is free during the week. The paid one, it got 11 likes. It got a bunch of positive feedback. I try and provide content that you guys will like, not just, hey, I bought this, or I sold this. It's content that's going to help you become a better investor or trader. Bisco, for ALAR, this was a social request last week. ALAR, it's Alarum Technologies. Bisco says, it's such a pump and dump, and I thought this was important to point out. It's a pump and dump. There's a commercial on CNBC to go to a website for legendary stock pickers' greatest picks. I went out of curiosity. After an hour, he shows that the stock was ALAR. So he thinks it's a pump and dump. You can trade it. I mean, honest to God, it looks like it's a good one to trade. The algorithm makes you 245%. Buying and holding makes you 328%. If we look at the algorithm, again, past performance doesn't indicate, but you just got to buy it here at 27.20. You're at 29.30. So maybe it's a good trade, but you're on your way up. I would probably trade this one, and I think Bisco is probably right. So scans, there were a couple that I wanted to point out. Lilly, right before earnings, Lilly comes out. We went over how their earnings are expected. 730-280. If you want Eli Lilly, get Eli Lilly. This is GLP-1. We're in a GLP-1 and an AI market, so that's what you trade. Lilly cross up. Amazon, we have a cross up right before earnings again. 179.62 it got you in. We talked about that 188. I think we get the next leg higher. Again, if the earnings are positive and the guidance is positive, that's what you have to look at. Now, I own Etsy, and I wish I didn't, but I do own Etsy. Their earnings are coming out this week as well. We have a cross up here at 67.42. I wish I did not own this. And you can see I bought it right way back here in November 2020 at 151. I have not managed this one correctly. I do believe that this is a great brand. I've used Etsy to buy gifts for people. I love it. It's personalized. It's very similar. I support small business and people are able to make a living on it. I really, really like it. The problem is the valuation, and it just got one of those. This is one of those pandemic wins where it just hasn't come back to life. The brand is great. You look at the PEG, though, it's trading 7% above it. It's consumer discretionary. It's rated 24 out of 29. I've just got to get out of this one. I've just got to even, Baba is higher. Amazon, I should have Jumia. I should have any of these. Dick's Sporting's good. Coupang. I should have any of those stocks except for Etsy. It got a cross up. I figured I'd bring it up. MPC, AMR, MRO. One that is an alpha pick that has a cross up that has had a recent pullback is Cardinal Health. And this one's interesting. My dad owns a bunch of this. I tried to get him to sell here because we were, I believe, at 52-week or all-time highs. Yeah, I think it's all-time highs. And I wanted him to sell there. He didn't. We held on to it. I'm looking to buy more in my portfolio, not his portfolio. Comes in right before earnings. Earnings are May 1st, Wednesday, 103.65. You're trading in pre-market at 103.02. Actually, it just opened up at 103.02. So you don't have confirmation. I thought this was interesting. Do you want to buy it now? Let's see. Let's go over to CAH here. It's a strong buy in the quant. Its valuation C+, growth B, profitability A+, momentum B. Wall Street has it as a hold. We can go and take a look at that, but let's take a look at the PEG. The PEG forward, 0.98. You're trading 50% below the market. If we go and look at Wall Street, why do they have it as a hold? Their average price target is 112. You're trading right now at 103. So let me just refresh this because I think it messes up when I go from the quant to Wall Street. But we can take a look at Wall Street. 121.31. Yeah. CAH, strong buy. MU, this one could be, this is Micron. This is another semiconductor. They had their earnings already, and it created a gap. And so what you did was you started to cover that gap. You haven't fully covered it, but 114.72, and you're trading at 114.02. The MACD, well low, crossing up. The RSI, 49, coming off oversold when it got down there to 105. Oversold, it was at 28. Nice little bounce. Do you want to buy at 114? I would argue that you're getting ready to go to a leg higher. Micron is one of the companies that will create a fab here in the U.S. and create more chips. I think you're moving higher. I think you use this 97 as extreme support because it was resistance. I think that's the extreme support. But if you go back to the 4-hour and you look, it's right down here. You're just starting to cover that gap. Do you have a lower leg? I don't think so. I think that 97 on the 4-hour provides you pretty good support. Now let's talk about, if you have any questions, go to Linktree, linktr.ee/dailystockpick. You can find every tool that I've mentioned here is on sale. So TrendSpider, you click on that link and you sign up for TrendSpider. It is $58 per month. You save over $1,000 when you sign up for 1 year, over $1,000 savings. So you sign up, you email me, go back to the Linktree. You can email me. The email's up here at the top, right here, next to the email. It's dailystockpick3@gmail.com. And you can email me and I'll send you, after you sign up, I'll send you all the links to get my 4-hour algorithm, to get my day trading 65-minute algorithm, to get all of the custom watch list scanners. So when I'm on vacation, you can do the podcast for yourself. You can scan everything. Now, the other thing that I use a lot, and you saw it, was my the quant in Seeking Alpha. Seeking Alpha, their quant is unbeatable. It is such a great tool when you don't know about a stock. You can kind of take a look at it. You can take a look at the other members that have done analysis of it. It is the best tool that I have out there to try and do it. Now, why is the quant so good? Well, alpha picks. If you're just not into doing all of this research and you don't want to listen to an hour of me a day, you can look at Alpha Picks, $449. They save you $50 off. It's $449. By the way, Seeking Alpha Premium is only $189 a year. It is significantly cheap. I save you $50 with a free 7-day trial. Alpha Picks does not come with a free 7-day trial. This is based on the performance, the $449. Now, GCT, most recent Alpha Pick, GCT, I bought when they told me to buy. I think I got in at like 32, 33. This is up at 34. This has gone all the way up to 37. It was a nice 13% pop. I could have gotten out of GCT and traded it a little. Again, the algorithm got you in at 29. So when they came out with theirs at about 30, I said, okay, I'm going to get into this one. It is a long-term buy and hold. These are picks that you can trade if you'd like, but typically it's a long-term buy and hold. 2 stocks per month. We're going to get one on May 1st. I may do a newsletter, but I will not tell you what it is because I don't have the podcast, so I can't tell you what it is. I will most likely be buying their next alpha pick. It's 2 stocks per month. They tell you when to sell. Look at the performance, 116% versus the S&P at 33%. Put $1,000 into this. You'll make that, at 116%, you'll make the $449 if you put in $1,000 if their performance continues to hold. It has outperformed the S&P. So those are the 3 tools that you can buy. The other tool, the paid newsletter. Again, positive feedback on this one, Peter Lynch scanner. So if you have any questions, hit me up. I will be back tomorrow. Jensen Huang's 60 Minutes interview is right now. Jim Cramer is fawning like a schoolgirl. So, in fact, GCT, by the way, the algorithm makes you 328%. Buying and holding only makes you 87%. So that $29 buy, great buy, because right now you're at 35. It's down 0.4% today. I would say buy it today if you don't have it. I like this one. I may add more to it. Okay, see you, bye. Okay, Eric, I tried to rate your podcast on Spotify, but it doesn't have the submit button for 5 stars. Change to 4 stars and the submit button is available. Spotify issue. Effers. Yeah. They don't like me because I bitch at them constantly. I call their support. Yeah, and here's I like Spotify. I am a fan of Spotify. And Spotify for podcasters is by far the best platform to do stuff on. But I will tell you, it is a pain in the ass as a small creator. I'm not a big creator. I am considered a small creator. And while their support people are overwhelmingly trying to help, there are so many problems with the ad-supported portion of Spotify. Chris has watched that movie. No, Spotify doesn't have a live option, Eli. The only place I'm live here is on YouTube. Spotify doesn't have an option for live. And I honestly, it's funny because all of the ad money that I get, I think 80 to 90% of the ad money that I get, I think it's about $50, $100 a month, somewhere in that neighborhood from YouTube. It's from the live. So I don't know that I'd necessarily move over to Spotify for the live because they don't pay me for the live. They barely pay me on ads anyway. I get what? I get about 10 times the listenership on Spotify, and I make half the money that YouTube pays me. YouTube charges twice the amount for the audience on YouTube that Spotify charges for their ads. But am I going to go through the process of hiring an ad agency and doing my own ads? Hell no. Hell no. No, you ain't going crazy, Eli. You're smarter than most. Hold on one second. Good morning. It's Monday, April 29th, the last Monday in April for 2024. just so everyone's aware, I will be on vacation this week, Wednesday through
That looks
Friday.
okay. It doesn't look like the frames dropped. Let me see. I'm going to do an index check, because I think the indexes are up. Cleveland Cliffs is going to turn around. That's up 1% today. Wow. Yeah, I'm up today. That's all Apple and Amazon. I'm up 1.8%, by the way. That's Apple up what? Apple's up 3.5%. So, CrowdStrike's up. GCT is down 2%. Google's down 2%. Oh, Mara is down 7%. I got to get out of that one. NVIDIA's down 2%. Where's SMCI? SMCI's down 2%. You can get in SMCI about the price that I bought it at. I wonder if he said something on his 60 Minutes interview that freaked out the market. You don't get a 60 Minutes interview that's positive and then have your stock go down the next day. Oh, what's that about? Okay. I'm going to get out of here. I got lawn stuff to do. I spent 4 hours yesterday aerating, fertilizing, cutting, manicuring the lawn. It will be the best lawn in the neighborhood. If anybody else is a lawn geek, I am a lawn geek. I have Bermuda grass. I'd like to get some new sod, though. I have to infuse some new Bermuda into my stuff. I am not going to go through that process, though. Oof. That's a crazy process to go through. Google's down below 170. I think Google's quarter. On a pullback, this one is a buy. Just like Meta. I think Meta at 433, I mean, it's putting in that nice bottom there at the 200-day. We're going to get rid of that segment. It's putting in its nice bottom. It is using that 440, 445 as resistance. And F Spotify for those 5-star things. I am back up to, by the way, 4.9. So, yeah, almost 600 ratings. Oh, that's the, the buffalo grass. I think I saw that one. I have a neighbor. Yeah. Yeah. That's the problem, that buffalo grass. Not shade tolerant. I mean, that's Bermuda too. Everything, the warm season stuff. I cut mine, Eli, so you know, and I'm down here in the warm season. I'm in that transition zone, but on the lower end of the transition zone, so I do have Bermuda, and I'm able to have a warm season grass. But I cut mine at about quarter of an inch to a half inch. I don't real mow, but I have leveled my lawn, and it's probably due for a level. And again, the problem I have is between April and June, I constantly have POA. And POA, if you don't know, POA is an annual bluegrass that gets killed off with the heat. But if you have it once, it's incredibly hard to get rid of it because the seeds germinate, and they just keep re-germinating, and it takes over. I do use some pesticides, but I don't like because of the Oh, see, I've got huge trees down here. But yeah, not to get into too much detail, but the POA makes my lawn bumpy until we get to June. So I do scalp some portions because I have a rotary mower. I am fully electric in all my lawn equipment. That, in fact, I was electric in my lawn equipment before I got an electric car. The lawn equipment I always used to hate going and getting gas for the lawn stuff because it would always stink up my car. So I wound up getting electric lawn equipment, Ryobi. My lawnmower and my blower have lasted the entire 10 years. I still do have one of the original batteries. The other battery has long since gone dead. So I had to replace it. But Ryobi tools, they do last. Just the string trimmers that kind of suck from Ryobi for battery. And I hate that I have I need to buy a new one. But I hate that I have this Works, WORX trimmer. And it sucks. It's horrible. It's horrible. So I want to buy another trimmer. But I'm kind of waiting for this Works one to die. And I do have a real mower. It's a Scott's reel mower. It's not the traditional one where you push it. But it's an electric one that actually, you can push this one, but it does the stuff. The problem with it is it doesn't go below 1 inch. Damn, you got 5 acres, Chris? Yeah. You could do 5 acres. You could do electric with the Ego. I'll show you the Ego. You could, because there's a guy in Florida. This one, the Zero Turn with 4 batteries. You could do that one. You could do with electric with this one, but that's it. I mean, who's freaking paying $5,000, $5,600? Let's see. Oh, it's 2.5 acres cut per charge. So you'd need to get a second set of batteries. Then you could do 5 acres. But a second set of batteries, probably another $600, $700, maybe $1,000. So you're talking quite an investment versus getting just a tractor. I have a buddy who's got 60 acres in Florida, and he's got gas-powered mower. He can't, he's got the tractors, in fact. Yeah. Yeah, you got, for 5 acres, you got to have pretty hefty equipment. But this is we're getting there with batteries, but I don't think we're there yet, Chris. I think, with that type of acreage and stuff. But the guy in Florida, he's got a YouTube channel. Let me go and look. Let's see. Electric Lawn Care, Florida. Let's see. Solar Punk Steve. That's who it is. I'll send you his channel. He's actually pretty good. He's got a lawn care business that he uses electric for. And in fact, you can see up here, he actually uses his Tesla Model Y to pull his trailer. So he's fully electric with solar up top charges the batteries that are in the trailer. And you can see Greenworks tractor. He's got a great channel if you're interested in like electric lawn care stuff. I actually like it. No, but I am a lawn geek. But this Solar Punk Steve, I'm I'm subscribed on my personal one. I might as well subscribe here because I watch it a ton. Okay. I'm out. God, let's see. Are we going to wind up? I hope today doesn't go back to negative. We're losing the market. Yeah. We're losing the market. Let's go back to the Qs. And we'll go to the 5-minute chart. It's very similar to last week or 2 weeks ago where you had this, again, that 434. We got there. We got to 433.76, 433.56, and then it's just rejected. Deere is good. Deere is a company, I mean, the Deere stock, I don't think it's done well, but that's because yeah, I like it to get back to the 200-day. It did. Got the golden cross. Rejected. Earnings are coming up May 16th. If you look at a weekly, I've said it. I've outlined it before. That's the range that we're in. Oh, it bounced right off there. So I think I did this range way back here where I said, yeah, it's put in that bottom right there. So Tesla hit the 190, rejected off. If you want to see the 5-minute of this one's probably the one. Yeah. Look at how perfect that is. Look at how perfect that is. I don't know which time frame I put that in. Because I didn't just do that. I don't know which time frame I put that in. That had to be from a while ago. Okay. I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last show of the week. So show up, share with your friends, tell everyone. See you guys. Bye.